What did this last couple of weeks do to your mentality and your hope for what this team could be in the near future?
Yeah, I think it encouraged me, obviously. I think it was encouraging for a lot of guys. I think also, not even for me, I hope it's for the younger players on our team. Because like I said to them, we're older. Like, we've seen things, we know better, we've experienced a lot, and we want to see them get to a point where they understand how fun this league can be when you're winning and playing the right way. And I think for them, seeing that they're getting results by the way they were playing the game the right way, and I think that's what's encouraging. And you can almost see it click for a lot of guys. And the steps that some guys made the last month of the season, it's awesome. But now you got to make it stick, right? And that's where I'm looking forward to seeing how guys go into this summer. And it's not, no one should be happy in the sense of the way this season went. So it should drive you to become a better player, a better teammate, better person for this organization, all of us. And if we do that, I think we come back a better team collectively. So that's the encouragement I had from the last month here, last little bit, and and the joy and the fun that we were having playing.
In your mind, what's the next step next season? What's realistic expectations?
That's a tricky one, right? I don't know. I think for me the next step for our group is just to get into a mindset of becoming a meaningful team, right? Like, I think I can't give you a number, I can't give you a win, I can't give you a lineup, that's not my job. But I think for every guy to come back and say, this is the year that we're going to take a step as a group. And it may not be in the playoffs. It may not. It's a hard league. I think we've all realized that. I don't think you can just throw names in on a list and go play and on a roster. But I think for us, if we have a mindset of like, today is the starter, when we get to training camp, it's probably even now, right? Like, for guys to be highly motivated to be part of this, right? I think we talked about that, and it's no knock on anyone. I mentioned it before, but when you're doing this, there's some roads to go through, and I think we went through one where you're weeding out some people and some guys that don't want to be here, some guys that can't be part of this. Their timelines don't match up, and now we're at the point where there's a little collective group that has a chance to be part of this, right? Like, now you get to decide, are you going to be part of where we're going? You've seen what we've done the past little bit, and it's really nothing to hang your hat on, but it is a sign of what this team can do. And I hope that the young guys, I hope the older guys, I hope the guys coming in, I'm sure there'll be some guys coming in that are excited about being part of the trajectory that we're hopefully going to go on. And that, to me, is a sign of a team moving forward. So, I can't look into the future. I think you try to do that, it's a slippery slope. But, I'm enjoying being part of this group and trying to push this forward. And I think if every guy has that mindset going into next season, I think we're going to become a better team.
You mentioned, like a month ago, a few weeks ago, that there were some things that worried you that you saw around the team this year, and some things that encouraged you, and you didn't want to go into it at that time. But can you share any kind of things now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and it's probably the hardest thing, and I'm sure if you ask the older players that I played with when I came in, the respect for the game, right, and what that means to different guys. And I think that's where our team had to mature a lot this year, right, is okay, early on we had the ideas of what we were going to be. It didn't work out. Then you bring in everybody else. We change up the lineup a little bit. Now you have young guys coming in with opportunities, and that's awesome. And you're so thrilled for them. And then there's that phase also falls off a little bit. Now it's like, all right, you're a young player, but the shiny new toy is worn off, and now you're playing. This is your 15th game, 20th game, and it's a grind. And what are you doing to find a way to contribute every night? Maybe it's not on the score sheet. Maybe it's a good defensive play that game. And I think we need to value those things more, because that's how allows a team to win, right? And I think that's where I was disappointed, because there's conversations we have privately. And it just didn't seem to click for our group right away. And that's patience, that's understanding, that's maturing. I talk about my own kids. I've said it a million times, and they finally get it on the millionth one. But I think for me, it's just, as professionals, there's a way you approach this game, and you have to put, the team first always, right, and how you're going to play. And I think that's what you saw the last little bit. I was really excited. Like, that game in Montreal, I saw a group of kids and players, and I talk about all our guys, because I just saw a collective mindset of, like, we're going into the Lions' den a little bit, and we haven't really experienced that at all throughout the year. And we handled ourselves so maturely. Like, it was impressive. And I was really encouraged after that game, watching guys, like, handle big moments, the ebbs and flows of momentum and getting it back, losing it. They came out flying. We get it back. Our power play clicks. You know, it just, and guys were making smart plays, big saves. You know, so it's those moments that get you really excited. So I went from, you know, all right, we got to respect the game, to watching a group of guys really respect the game. And so I think that's encouraging for me as a leader on the team, and I'm sure a lot of the guys in the room, to watch that happen. And, you know, I'm looking for more of that now, right? Like, that's the standard. And that's what we have to get to as the Chicago Blackhawks. There has to be a standard here, and it can't dip below again.
Whether it's, you know, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever, you're going to hand the captaincy to somebody. Do you see leaders emerging out of
I have
this?
to rip it off. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, nah.
48-year-old.
A cane. You're not taking her.
Do you see a leadership group forming out of this kind of next generation now?
I do. And I actually had that conversation with those guys. I'm like, that's the beautiful thing. And, you know, it's hard because I've been on different sides of it, right? I've been the guy that's been able to build a culture with a group in Columbus. I came into a really good culture in Boston. So I've seen how pieces come together. And when you're that young group, and that was the challenge I kind of said to these guys, I'm like, you have an opportunity here to be part of what turns this entire franchise around. And I said, that's really exciting that you guys can all grow together and find your own leadership roles within that, and have people there to mentor you along as you go, but learn but do it together, right? Like, find your voice or your way you're going to impact the game. And, you know, I'm watching guys do that, and it's pretty neat. I mean, it's cool because I think you are going to kick yourself one day if you look back and say, I was part of that core, but I didn't want to commit myself to it enough. And look at those guys now when they're raising the cup in, you know, 5, 6, 7 years. Hopefully it's next year. But that's the cool part of sports, and like when you have an opportunity to really build it from the ground up. And these guys, I think, have realized that, and I hope they take it to heart this summer and like come in with that attitude, a little bit of swagger, like this is their team, you know. As much as I'm the cap, like this is their team, and I know that, and I think it's exciting for me to hand it off to whoever. And know it's going to be in great hands, you know. And there's enough guys in that room that can do it, and you know, you see it out of them. Now you got to pull it out of them, and they have to realize it. But it's all part of maturing, and I think you saw that. You watched how Vlasic matured this year. I watched Frank Nazar mature a lot before my eyes. I'm really proud of that kid. Like he really came to play this year and took it to heart. And you know, obviously there's ebbs and flows, but I thought his game really took off. I think Bedsy has improved a lot as a person, as a player. I'm really encouraged by him. You know, I know there's enough said about but he's going to be a hell of a player, and he's a great person. And it's neat to see how he's kind of gone through that process as well. And there's probably a list of more. And even a guy like Spencer Knight coming in too, you know, and Sodi, and like that. I can keep going through the whole room, and there's good pieces here. It's just a matter of guys realizing it, but respecting it and knowing that this wasn't good enough, and we have to come in with a really different attitude of a standard next year and get to it right away, and you know, never look back.
How different is your attitude about that now than it was last year? I mean, last year you were pretty vocal about this roster has to change over the summer, and changes were made, and it didn't lead to much better results. So how differently do you feel now, and did you kind of learn from, I guess, what this year represented?
Yeah, maybe not the results on paper, but results internally. Like, we're a different team completely, and talking a lot different now than we did last year, right? So that's encouraging. You know, like, listen, this is a results-based league. I'm not stupid to that, and I am not happy with the way we're sitting, but you realize you have to go through these hard moments to find a way to get to where you want to go. And I think for me, that's what encourages me about this group, and I'm excited about the opportunity these guys have and where we're trying to go. And that's why it's like, you know, you have to go through, maybe you have to, you know, addition by subtraction sometimes for an organization to move forward. And I think you're seeing why that had to happen, right? You lose some guys, but you gain some guys who are really hungry to be part of this. And you know, I'm excited, and that's probably why I'm looking forward to next season already, and how these guys can come in here and really take a hold of the opportunity they're getting, but respect it, work hard this summer, and come back with a statement of like, I'm going to take over this team. And if they do that, this team could go on a pretty nice trajectory in the standings and just as a group.
One of the big questions going into off season is around the coaching situation. What was your experience with Anders, and if they decide to go outside the organization, what would you tell them to look for in the next coach for this group?
I think big thing I'll say is I really enjoyed Anders. I think it's a hard position to come into when you're coming in halfway, first time coaching in the NHL, and I thought he handled himself really well. He's a great communicator. Him and I talked a lot. And there's a lot of things you're trying to fix and do, and even learn about yourself, I'm sure, and he'd probably admit that too. And so it was nice that we could kind of help each other, and I appreciated that he respected me enough to have those conversations, and we could work together and trying to find solutions for this team. And but I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, that's obviously a question for Kyle and Norm and the management team, but. We enjoyed our time with Anders. I think he made us a better team, and I think he did a great job. So we'll see what they value. I know for us, we just, there has to be a standard and an accountability that goes into this group. I think that's just always the path forward, but that'll be a decision they'll have to make.
I know you guys had that players-only meeting in Pittsburgh. How valuable was that experience for some of the young players to experience kind of something like that? And do you think it played a role into the 3-0-1 finish after?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it was much needed. Probably could have been done maybe a little bit sooner, but you got to have those things happen organically. And I think it was just a moment where we talked about like respecting the game, and we play a good game at home against Pittsburgh, and then we go into Pittsburgh, and it was too Jekyll and Hyde, right? And that's the talk on the maturing and understanding of how you need to play. Yeah, okay, tonight's not your night. You're scoring 2 or 3. But what are you doing on the other side of the puck to help us or help your teammates score 2 or 3, right? Or help your goalie out so he doesn't pull a groin because he's had to make 15 saves. And, those are the things that you don't think about, because I get it. When you're coming in as a kid, you're like, what can, for me, and us as a group. But if you have too many of those thoughts, it does take over the team. And no one does it maliciously. Everyone cares, but there's a different kind of care. And I think having that trickle into our last few games was really nice to see that kind of message was received. Even, last game, I don't really put a lot of stock into it. It was disappointing, but to find a way to win that, a lot of nights, guys, we wouldn't, right? Like, it would be ugly, and it would turn ugly really quick. Snyder makes some great saves, but we find a way to stay in it. Our 2 kids make some great plays. Bedsy has 2, Frank has 1. Like, it shows that there's an understanding. Okay, even though it's not our best game, we're able to find a way to make a difference. That's encouraging, and I think I'm really proud of the guys for buying into that message and taking it to heart. That's where I see the improvement. There's a genuine care now in this group of trying to get this team forward, and that's really encouraging for a guy who's, the leader of the team, that you want to see that out of your players and out of your teammates that you go to war with every day. And I give a ton of credit to a guy like Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez and the list kind of, even TJ Brody in this position, that tough position that he was in, like they showed how selfless they were all year long to try and help guys, and I think they're feeling good seeing that it's left a little bit better than they found it.
Speaking of that last game, you look at a couple of the young players. Moore had that assist under pressure. Renzel made a play on Stützle to set up Frank's overtime goal. I mean, this 9 games for each of those guys. Is that unusual to see?
From Moore and Renzel, yeah.
Yeah, Moore and Renzel.
I thought they came in and did a great job. I mean, I think they were just enjoying being in the moment. I think they got some valuable lessons too. I mean, we had some honest conversations while they were here too, and they understood the pro game. They're great kids. You could tell they have elite talent. Like that Renzel really impressed me. I didn't know much about him. I knew Moore could fly, but his grittiness too, and even Green coming in too and playing those last 2 games, I thought he did a great job. It's encouraging. There's a good mix here. I mean, not everyone's going to play obviously next year, or maybe they are. That's wonderful. But the reality is that we have guys that are here and want to be part of this and are excited about pushing this forward, and good character people. That's important too. Like you have to have that mix in the room of guys that care, that want to get better, that want to be a part of this, that care about their teammates. And those guys, I give them a ton of credit. They came in and showed that from day one, which is pretty impressive for jumping into a season at the end of the season, and they brought a lot of energy and fun to the game, and I was really enjoying playing with them.
What did Ilya Mikheyev mean to this team this year?
Mickey took huge steps. I think that's probably one guy that no one really knew a lot about or what he was gonna bring. I played with him in Toronto, and I saw a lot of promise. He was still younger, but it was really nice to see how much he solidified that middle group for us in the forward lines. Like he can his penalty killing is exceptional because he can skate. He thinks the game well. You just kind of, you appreciate guys that you know what you're going to get every time they step on the ice, and that was him. I mean, he's just a consistent, good performer, good pro, showed up every game, worked hard every practice, and is a good example for a lot of guys of just, like, you know, giving yourself to the team and you know, consistently playing the way that you can be predictable so everyone knows. That's why a lot of guys want to play with him, right? Like, you know what you're going to get from Ilya, you know what you're going to get from Tavo. You know, there's a lot of those guys on our team that it's a nice feeling. But I was really impressed with Mickey, just the way he's handled himself, and he's a great human and great teammate, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do next year.
When do you start recruiting free agents?
About 5 days ago,
It's not tampering.
Never stops. Yeah. No, you know what? I hope my biggest hope is that we're starting to show that we're moving, right. Like and then hopefully that attracts some people. But you know, I'm encouraged by what we have here too. You know, and I'm not so concerned about that right now. But I'm sure those guys have already looked at who we're looking at, and there's always a wish list. But yeah, no, it's my biggest thing is I'm encouraged by the group that we have in here, the guys that have committed themselves all year long through a tough season of trying to, like, really find yourself. And I think we're starting to head in that direction. We still got a long ways to go. There's no promises here. There's no, I think that's the biggest message here is work for it. Understand the opportunity that we have in front of us. Go out and work really, really hard this summer so that you show how much you care about this group. And when you come in next year, you make a statement with how you look in training camp. And I think if every guy does that, we take off from there.
You have a free agent group chat, don't you?
A free agent group chat, yeah. The whole league. Gary Bettman's on it too.
All right, thank you.